Hello, my name is Derek Peterson. I am the president of Hope Holdings and the founder and CEO of OneWay.com, the free speech and human-friendly social network. In response to the recent censorship of Christians and conservatives online, mostly by these big tech, call them evil tech, social networking companies like YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, to name a few, I've written a letter to President Trump making some requests. I know these requests don't necessarily fall under the president's job description, constitutionally speaking, but to whatever abilities he has to influence in these matters, I hope and pray that he does. Any other tech leaders? We have one tech leader that's already signed on to the letter. If any other tech leaders would like to sign on to the letter, it would be great. You just contact me through oneway.com. Just go to /Derek or hit the contact us and shoot an email over. I'll be sure and get it. And you don't have to agree with me on everything, but on this one thing, it'd be great if we could all get together on this. It's lonely. My position's not exactly a popular position, right? A lot of you are not going to agree with my letter. They're not going to like my letter, and I can hear them already. You know, you must be some radical libertarian. You and your property rights and personal business rights. You know, don't you understand? These aren't regular businesses. These are monopolies. These are public squares. These should be considered utilities. You know, you're so naive. You just don't get it. Well, let me read my letter first and explain my position, and then we can get into who the naive one is. Okay. So first, the letter. Dear President Trump, we are some of the tech leaders who are devoting our time, energy, and careers to creating free and open source technologies to help people connect with others, share ideas, and generally make the world a better place. We are very concerned that the actions of some of the bad actors in the technology world will result in regulations that could limit free speech and liberty in general. We believe that the technologies we and others are developing will correct the market in a very short time and are concerned that any kind of regulation concerning speech or making these companies government-sponsored public squares or utilities of some kind will further cement their place in our lives, make them more powerful, and only make it more difficult or even impossible for the market to self-correct. With this spirit in mind, we humbly request, 1, that you continue to allow all businesses the right to decide what speech and standards are best for their businesses and communities. 2, that you continue to allow all businesses the right to decide what types of commerce they will take part in based on their own consciences. 3, that you eliminate or limit regulations which could slow development and adoption of these developing technologies. And 4, that you and other leaders start to use and adopt these technologies as they are developed. Thank you for all you're doing for America and the world. Signed, Derek Peterson, president of OneWay.com and Hope Holdings, and Ray Vahay, president of BitChute.com. Again, if there's any other tech leaders that would like to sign this, please contact me. Be happy to have your signatures and have you sign off on it with us. So let me explain my position. This really isn't anything new, folks. Okay, this is the same old routine that they pull over and over again. Okay, problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. You can think, if you've been around for any sort of time with paying attention at all, you can think of a lot of examples. I'm not going to give them here, but problem, reaction, solution. Just think about how many things that have come into our lives as a result of that step, right? They create the problem, we have a reaction, and they're waiting there for us with a solution. That is not good, okay? In this particular case, problem, reaction, solution. Problem, all the big tech companies start censoring all the Christians and conservatives, right? Let's talk about that for a second. This is ridiculous. I know this isn't real because it's so stupid, right? These guys, let's say what you want about these big tech guys, right? They're pointless. They're not very smart. Most of them are just figureheads being run by power brokers behind the scenes, right? But the people pulling the strings aren't really stupid, okay? They understand what they're doing. They understand that this over-the-top censorship of Christians and conservatives is going to get them a ton of attention, a ton of sympathy. Even people that don't like these guys are going to feel sympathetic to them and take their sides, okay? This is going to get them a ton more publicity. All these Christians and conservative speakers and things like that that are getting censored right now are going to get 1,000 times more attention between now and the election than they would have gotten otherwise a gazillion times over, right? These big tech companies could have just kept shadow banning people. Shadow banning is a very effective technique, okay? And you can hide it very easily. I know there's websites out there you can put your username in and say, oh, they're shadow banned. That's ridiculous. There's a gazillion and one ways to shadow ban people where they would never know it. And even if they did somehow figure it out and you filed a lawsuit against them, there's a million and one ways where they could defend it and justify it, okay, based on their community and monetary goals and things like that, okay? And I don't blame them for it, to tell you the truth. They're trying to run a business. It's their business decisions, right? So, I mean, if they break a standard agreement, a contract that you signed on to, that you went into agreement with them over, then fine, sue them, okay? Normal, I understand, okay? But what's happening now doesn't make any sense, okay? It is not going to help them with the election by censoring all of these people so out in the open and so over the top and flagrantly, okay? So that's the problem, okay? The problem is all these big evil tech companies are after us, right? Reaction. We're afraid. We're angry. Please, government, help us, right? We want blood. We want you to make these big tech companies pay, right? We want to be heard. We want you to force our way onto these other websites and make sure that they can, that they have to, that we're heard on these other platforms, no matter what, right? That's not a good move, okay? That's a foolish reaction. Whenever you're making moves out of fear and out of anger, okay, you're being manipulated, okay? This is an intentional setup, okay? They did the problem to get a bad reaction out of you, a very unwise reaction. You're afraid you're going to lose the election, right? You're afraid that they're going to win the hearts and minds of everybody out there. If you can't say what you want to say on Twitter, your video gets banned on YouTube, right? So you want to force your way onto these platforms, okay? You're playing right into their hands. That's exactly what they want. These big tech companies are dying. They're bleeding out. I mean, Twitter has been bleeding out for years now. Facebook is tanking, okay? And it's not because of the censorship. It's because of the other technologies that are coming out there that can compete with them way infinitely cheaper, okay? They're losing the narrative. These distributed social networks that are coming out, these node-based social networks that we're developing right now, is the end of them. And they know it. They see the writing on the wall. Their only hope for survival and for the government's continued control of the people and manipulation of the people through these social networks is to create these giant utilities, for lack of a better word, public squares, everyone keeps referring to, right? Government-sponsored public squares, like National Public Radio. How'd that work out for us, right? And so somehow, I guess in the minds of these content creators, they think it's a good idea to have this, to make YouTube into some kind of utility, and we all communally, support the bandwidth charges for YouTube so we can all put our videos up there and have our own voice, right? And then the government's going to run it. Folks, newsflash, okay? Speaking of naivety, who do you think created these big tech companies, okay? They're all funded. They're all funded by the government intelligence agencies, and they're still controlled by them. That's how they're surviving right now, okay? But they can't keep flipping the bills like this for much longer, and they know it. So this is literally their death throes, their last move, okay? And you're falling for it, okay? Problem. Big tech censoring all the Christians and conservatives. Reaction. We're afraid. We're going to lose the election. We're going to lose the narrative, right? We're angry. We want blood. Please, government, help us. Help us. Do something. The government steps in. Solution, right? Don't worry. We'll help you. We'll make YouTube into a utility, and Twitter is going to be utility, and Facebook is going to be utility. And the big tech socials say, oh no, I guess if you insist, I guess we will, right? And we'll write the community standards that everybody needs to obey on the internet so we can have a better internet, right? Not a good move, folks. Once these guys become public utilities, okay, you're going to be locked into these prison camps forever. Nobody will be able to compete with them. Nobody's going to be able to beat them out. And they're still going to keep shadow banning. We're winning the fight. We are winning the battle. And you folks, because of your fear and your anger, are trying to negotiate terms of surrender for some reason. And I'm just like, step back, stand your ground, be brave, and watch them die. Okay, that's all we need to do. We don't even need to attack. We just need to step away and let them die their natural deaths. Okay, and please, folks, we have to be brave. We have to stand our ground and weather the storm. We're going to get through it. We're going to win the battle for technology on the internet. We were lazy. We let these guys take control, and we let the government pay for it all. Okay, we should have been fighting those battles from the get-go, but now we're playing catch-up. Okay, of course they're going to try dirty tricks to try to keep technologies like we're developing and others are developing from getting to market, like they've done in the past with some great kids, Ilya, for example, right? And we have to be smart about it. We have to protect ourselves while we're developing these technologies, but we need to develop them, and then they won't have a say in our lives. But if you make them into public utilities and public squares, they're going to be cemented in our lives forever, and we will not have a way out at that point at all. Okay, so please stand your ground, be brave, weather the storm, and support the technologies that are trying to build things to free people. Okay. Thanks for listening. I'm Derek Peterson from Hope Holdings.